Hey everybody, it is Jay Bear. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Marvels, the technology demo show where I show you stuff that you might very well want to license for your own organization. Each and every episode includes a short demo of technology that I endorse and recommend and believe in. And today's episode certainly meets that test. Joining us on Marketing Marvels is Mark Kirschbaum, who's the chairman and CEO of a company called Sococo, which, okay, let me just break this down for you guys. Of all the stuff I use, and I think I've told you in this show before, we have 120 software licenses or something at Convince to Convert, so we knows a little bit about software. Other than Gmail, the application that I use the most in my entire life is this application, Sococo. It is a virtual office environment that lets distributed teams like mine really feel like they're in the same office together. It has quite literally changed the way that I work, and my company, Convince to Convert, could not exist in current form without Sococo. So my friend, it is a great pleasure for me to have you on Marketing Marvels, and thank you for all the work that you do because it has really changed my life.
Wow, Jay, thanks for those very, very kind words. I couldn't have said it better myself and really, really appreciate it, and just glad to be here.
Now, a lot of people use technology to bring their teams together, and it's, of course, increasingly common for workforces to be distributed. I'll just tell you as an aside, we started as an all-virtual company at Convince to Convert 10 years ago when the company was founded. And in those days, as you well know, like clients are like, well, what do you mean you don't have an office? Like, what do you mean people are all over the world working out of their house? Like, it was kind of crazy talk 10 years ago. We were definitely ahead of the curve and had to do some like simmer down, it's going to be okay kind of circumstances. But now, of course, more and more personnel, even people in big companies, are distributed. And certainly Sococo allows them to have that commonality of purpose and that communication thread that really makes it work. So I think I want to have you show a couple of slides that frame it up for people, because when I describe it, you're like, what are you talking about, Jay? So I'm going to have you show some slides and then we'll do a demo, all right?
That sounds great, yeah. The reality is, distributed teams, you might have been on the forefront of it 10 years ago, but this is a trend that's going nowhere but up. And so if you can see my slides now, Jay?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Just to share with you, as you said, this is the new reality, and good for you for being on the cutting edge of it, because work is no longer happening in one physical location. It's talent and not just real estate or even primarily real estate that's determining where collaboration happens. And so the result is the workforce is now a distributed workforce. Over 50% of all employees are expected to be working remotely by 2020. And remotely means different physical locations. That doesn't even take into account what's a broader and perhaps a more generally accepted term for distributed teams, which is any organization or people that are separated by a wall or 100 meters are really considered distributed. And so, that's
if you're on a different floor of your giant office tower, it's not that dissimilar from me being here and Kristen on my team being in Fort Worth, right? I mean, it's fundamentally the same environment.
And how much time are you going to waste going in the elevator up to that floor to find out that the person is either not there, on the phone, in a meeting, or whatever the case might be?
All right, that's the research project we need to do together. We need to RFID people and measure their elevator time and figure out the ROI of Sococo.
Totally. I mean, we digress for a second, but if you're on the Apple campus, in Cupertino, scheduling meetings, and you need to put 20 to 30 minutes between each meeting just to get around. Oh, and by the way, there still aren't enough meeting rooms for everyone on campus.
Yeah, and they just built it. Pretty crazy.
And then you think of all of the time and money that's spent to bring people physically together. But I'll get to that in a second. But let's just talk about the challenge, because as physical distance increases, the reality is results drop for organizations. And the data show that innovation behavior falls dramatically, trust declines, cooperation and help behavior declines. Role and goal clarity goes down because people are not connected. Project success drops. And the big one to me, organizational commitment and job satisfaction truly decline. And that's not a good situation. And so what companies have done to address this so far and to do it well is to use communication tools. And these tools are designed to facilitate communication, but the reality is they don't go so far as replace that physical presence and build the trust. And so distributed teams, even if they're using some of these other tools that I know you feature and are wonderful tools for organizations, the distributed teams still lack human connection, trust, spontaneity. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Shared culture and employee engagement and employee satisfaction. So Sococo is a real solution for several real problems that are pain points for organizations today. And so we can allow organizations to maintain uniquely the benefits of both co-location and distribution by what we say, and you said it beautifully, Jay, coming to work in Sococo. It's not start a meeting. It truly is, this is where I come to work each day. This is where I end my work day at the end of the day. And so those pain points that we address are allowing organizations to hire and retain talent. So no longer being geographically constrained, recruit the top talent without those constraints wherever people might be. Allow flexibility for team members to be in the office no matter where they are. They could be at the headquarters, they could be at a remote location, they could be at Starbucks, they could be at their home office, they could be on their mobile device, which Sococo has available already. And extending the company culture and a sense of connectedness. There's a big problem if an employee is working from home by themselves all day. How do they feel a part of a team? How do they see activity going on? And when we get to the demo, Jay, you'll see that activity takes place, and you can really, really see it with blinking avatars and conversation taking place in Sococo, as you know.
Yeah,
Number two, reduce
that's so key
expenses.
for us, is that we've got, everybody on our team is working in an office of one, right? So it's not like we've got a bunch of small groups. We have a bunch of ones, and we meet one time a year. We have one meeting a year for the whole corporation.
And you can think of the cost if you brought that together 4 times.
I mean, that's why it's such a vital tool for us. It's what it really is the DNA of the organization every day.
That's awesome. And so that plays into reducing expenses, right? You reduce the costly expense of physical office space for people, a price of square footage, $2, $3 per foot a month, and instead, pay the user fee on a monthly basis for that employee in Sococo, which is, low 2 digits a month. You can hold effective full day and multi-day meetings. We have agile development teams that get together every 12 to 14 weeks within an organization. And instead of physically bringing 80 to 120 people together each time, they're now holding those meetings in Sococo with breakout rooms, moderators, et cetera. They're saving $100,000 or more every quarter by holding those meetings in Sococo. And lastly, recovering that lost productivity time, which plays into the third point of increasing productivity. We'll show you in the demo, which I use the word demo, but it's only because we're showing it. It is real, it is live, as you know, how you can see and interact with your team members. I can walk around the office without geographic restrictions. I can sit next to someone in Germany or London or Iowa, at the same time in Sococo. And it increases trust by increasing transparency and synchronous communication and collaboration. When you see and hear people's avatars popping around the office, grabbing people, a quick question, whatever that might be. And that allows us to bring people together faster. And lastly is gaining insight. By viewing the presence and collaboration patterns across an organization, by beginning to cull this data that we have to help organizations see how people are collaborating. And I want to emphasize, not in a big brother way, but in a productivity way of being able to see, are the teams talking to each other? Are people getting together? Are they coming into Sococo and working in a collaborative way? And we can allow organizations to complement their perceptions of what's happening in an organization with their team with actual data. And that's what we're hearing from marquee customers. I love the quote from Agile Craft on the bottom there. Sococo is the oxygen that helps us seamlessly and spontaneously collaborate around the world. And so we're really pleased to be able to help these organizations really mesh together the benefits of being geographically located with the geographic flexibility and get both of those and be on the cusp and connecting collaboration tools in an effective office environment, no matter where people are located, working side by side in Sococo.
Yeah, we get a little tease of the demo there on your graphic because you can see the application in the middle of your slide. So that's a good transition to jump into the app. We'll see how Sococo works. And one of the things that we'll see, Marketing Marvels viewers, is just how easy this is. So we bring new people onto the team fairly frequently, and the onboarding process for Sococo is like 30 seconds because it is pretty darn intuitive. Like if you can't if you have a new hire who can't figure this out quickly, you might want to rethink the hire. That's kind of how I look at it, because it's pretty self-explanatory, which is what I like about it.
Awesome. Well, welcome to our Sococo headquarters. This is one of many different kind of maps that an organization can choose depending upon their culture and the size. And by the way, we stack these maps too. So if maybe 100 people is good for one floor, we can have whole buildings and you can find people across those spaces and across those floors.
Our map has a bunch of bars in it. I'm just going to tell you that right now. We have several lounges and cocktail bars in our map. We're just trying to keep it real. That's
awesome. You'll see, we had one that was a lounge on the bottom, but you can change the names of rooms, instantaneously. And that's what people do to name the room what a meeting is. And it does cause people to think a little bit differently. Some people have said to me, well, what about reserving rooms? Isn't that a problem? Like, think differently. Why do you have to worry about reserving a room? It's unlimited space. Grab a room, name it. People will see where you are, and they'll know that's where they need to be. They'll know when a meeting started because people are starting to congregate in that room. So if it's 10:03 instead of 10 o'clock, great. People know what's going on. If you wanted to have Robert in your meeting, but you can see Robert's engaged in another discussion, lots of ways to communicate. So let me walk you around the Sococo office, Jay, if that makes sense.
You bet.
All right. So you see some activity going on. We are not in Sococo right now, you and I, but you'll see my avatar. So whoever said you can't be in more than one place at the same time. You'll see toward the middle, you'll see the conference room onward and upward. Well, if you look to the left of that, there's my avatar where it says Mark in my office. And so you can see I have my headphones on right now. So if someone were to pop in my office, I would hear them and I'd have the chance to turn on my mic and my camera, or even my screen share if I wanted to. But you'll see if you look down to the left from my room, you'll see a room called 1407. I still don't know the origin of this of this name, but you'll see three people. You'll see John Quigley, Chris Young, and Eugene in a meeting in this room. And I can tell John is actively speaking as his avatar is blinking. Chris also has his microphone on, but I can see over John's head is the white screen, which means John's also screen sharing. Eugene is a guest in our Sococo headquarters. I can tell that because of the blue and white box toward the bottom of Eugene's avatar. So Eugene is able to come in with a guest link, but the only way Eugene can walk around this room, and this is real, right? The only way Eugene can walk around if Eugene's escorted. Guests do not have the opportunity to obviously wander around the office. Think exactly like a physical office. We're not analogous to a communication tool. We are analogous to someone's physical office space. So I, as the head of this business, I can actively see, wow, John and Chris are in a conversation. It's not a one-way conversation. Chris's avatar is now blinking. John's is blinking. They're actually engaged. If I skip over all the way to the right of the screen in the So Collaborative room, and this is part of our mantra, so connected, so collaborative, so simple, I can tell that Robert and Snail are in a discussion. Their video is on because of the green circle there. Their mics are on. Robert's actually speaking right now. You'll see there's a persistent share that's on the table. That's that monitor there. That allows people to leave a document, leave a URL link, leave a project plan, a Jira board, whatever it is, to leave it in that room persistently for meetings. And obviously it's secure from that perspective. Nate, Kristen, and Rachel are in a meeting. I can tell you Nate is in Eugene, Oregon. Kristen is in Minneapolis, and Rachel's in the Bay Area. They are working side by side and collaborating. Just like if you went to the top left corner, the Dev Grotto, that's where our dev team, some of them hang out during the day. Henry is actually in Boston. Philip is in Germany. But these folks sit side by side all day working together. If they have a problem they need to solve, a question to address, they'll just break out into one of the rooms and grab somebody and go. So let me show you how I can actually grab someone. I will find where I can say, okay, I'm looking to find where Zoe is. I can go to the find feature on the side. I can type in the start of Zoe's name, and boom, it will spotlight Zoe and tell me exactly where she is. It gives me options. I can open a chat with her, which is either the Sococo chat or we're integrated with Slack. So Slack chat would be started. I knock on the door if I feel like being polite of where she is, or I can do a get on Zoe, which means she'll get a pop-up message saying, hey, Mark's asking you to join him in his office. The fourth option, of course, is to just walk into the room and go in there. But what I'm going to do.
That's what I always do when I have a few minutes between meetings. I do drive-bys.
Totally.
I just pop into people's office, turn on the camera, like, what's going on? What's up?
I totally do that all the time, Jay.
It's incredibly rude, but I find it very fun.
Yep, it's management by walking around, and the only way you can't do it is if someone actually locks the door on you and locks you out. So let me actually, I will knock on the door right now. You might have heard the knock.
Yes.
Let's see if Zoe and Claire will let me in. Boom, they did.
So your blue avatar actually moved from where you were into their room.
That's right. She let me in. Hi there. Zoe and Claire, please meet Jay Bear of Convince and Convert. And now you can see we are in the Sococo office. If there's some delay, it's because I'm running 2 videos and 2 audios at the same time.
Yeah.
But instantly, I grab my colleagues. We can have a conversation, whether it's 2 minutes or an hour, pop right out, and we're done. So this is how we move around Sococo and how we get to know each other, work together. And in fact, I worked for months with Zoe and Claire before we physically met. And the only thing we didn't know about each other was how tall or how short someone is. We already built a relationship in Sococo. So Zoe and Claire happen to be in our Provo, Utah office. So thanks to both of you for being here.
And you could then share a document with them as well into that meeting room. You could augment this conversation with chat. There's a number of other things you could do. But the instant video conferencing is so simple and really takes the place of that. Let me just pop into your office and ask you a question that we're so familiar with in a regular physical office environment.
That's right. That's right. And that's why I made the point of you can have the benefits of co-location and still take advantage of the benefits of a distributed team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Zoe. Thanks, Claire. I'm going to pop back out of my office. They, of course, could kick me out as well if they wanted to.
Yeah, that's what they should do is kick you
out.
I'm
going to leave before they do that to me. Thanks, guys.
Mark, how many folks did you have on that video call simultaneously if you wanted to?
So we have basically unlimited number of people that could be there. Screen-wise, we can show 10 screens concurrently, and it's smart enough to know kind of who's speaking and to make that person appear on that screen.
I love it.
It's our biggest constraint is the same thing everyone else has in terms of bandwidth and connection speeds that every other tool has. On
the chat side, you said that you integrate with Slack chat. You also have your own native chat. Are those chat histories persistent or archivable in any way?
So we do not archive our chats for privacy and security reasons. But if someone is using Slack, then they're following exactly Slack's guidelines, and it is Slack.
Great.
So that's the most of the nickel tour. What I can do is I can also, you can see I can right click on my room. I can get a guest link that I could share with people. I could start a meeting, which means it'll give me a prompt to add names and invite people, set a timer for it, etc. As I said, I could close the door. I can change the room name if I wanted to. Let's just change this, and now it's Jay's Cave.
Oh, I like that.
Boom. Now it's Jay's Cave, and the room is changed. So people have fun with this. They're actually we have this end of the month when our sales team, which they always do, hit their number. They actually have a race around the Sococo office. So they start in the top left corner, and they have to pop into each room, and whoever gets back to start first. So again, it's just a fun way to collaborate and build relationships, which again solves those issues that distributed teams have that we talked about at the beginning, Jay.
One thing that I think we should clarify is you have a membership, an account to Sococo. Even if you're not currently online, it'll still show your name over there on the sort of list of people, right? So what I like about it personally, because our team travels a lot, not just me, but everybody. So just at a glance, I can figure out who's online, who's in town, who's not there, because their icon is green, or it's not.
Yep. So perfect point. Here I'm hovering over Chase, and if you can see the hover, it says Chase is offline.
Yeah.
But if I go down to Taylor,
Yep.
Taylor, it says what his role is, and it shows that he's available. I can also see that some of these avatars are blinking. So Snail, he's already speaking in So Collaborative with Robert. So this whole presence that Sococo gives you with the map is really, really differentiating and makes a big difference for organizations.
And as I mentioned, really easy to set up. There are a number of existing maps that you can choose from and customize to the desires of your office. We should also just briefly touch on the mobile application, which I actually use quite a bit because I am gone so much. You don't get the same kind of office graphics for sort of obvious reasons and screen size and all that, but it's terrific because it does give you the list of everybody. And so you know who's there, who's not there. You can do the same kind of meetings, the same kind of live chat. It works really well.
And the screen shares can be seen, and you can pinch in and pinch out on those as well.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, I end up doing a lot of Sococo meetings with people, from Ubers and things like that, to and from different places, and it works really, really well.
I'm glad you said Uber and not while you were driving.
No, I did not. I would not do that. Anything new coming down the path on the product side that we should know about?
Yeah, so we're actually in our new enhanced media environment. We are the office space. We are where teams come to work. And a critical component of that is obviously the ability to communicate effectively. So audio, video, and chat are critically important, as well as screen share. And so this is our new and improved environment that is rolling out to our customers now. Again, it's higher quality, quicker connection times, better stability, more options in terms of the way you view the video. And you know that we have multiple screen shares concurrently. So people can share their screens multiple times. We are working on a tablet version as well, nice. Continuously looking at improvements on our mobile applications, looking at more integrations. Remember, we don't want to be that collaboration tool. We want you to bring those collaboration tools to your Sococo office and put them on your desk. Yeah. So that's what we're looking at. More layouts as well. And we've got I'll add one more, which is, again, more analytics and insight for our customers. And you can imagine we've got a product roadmap that takes us well into 2019.
I love it. Fantastic. Thank you very much for showing us around. I love to see everybody's different way they handle it in their own office environment. It's kind of a fascinating set of circumstances. Let me unshare your screen. I'll ask you a couple other questions here. So it seems to me like, in terms of who this is right for, obviously it's right for a company like mine that is purely virtual, but as you mentioned, almost all companies have at least some distributed workforce. So there's really no limit to who this would be a good fit for.
100%. The only ones who I would not recommend Sococo to are sole proprietors who work by themselves. Yeah. Sococo is not a really effective place unless you're going to use it to invite guests in for that purpose. But then you're not using it as a place truly where you come to work. So as I said, any organization with 2 or more people, by either definition of distributed, physically, by geography or by walls, it's a very, very effective tool. And it's most effective when people come to work in Sococo and work here all day, as you know.
And you charge for it by the user, by tiers. How do you calculate that?
Yeah, our pricing is on a per user basis, either on a monthly or an annual contract. And the pricing, is discounted based upon number of users, as well as whether it's a monthly or an annual contract.
And I will say, obviously, the pricing is a sliding scale based on number of users, but I find it to be quite reasonable, especially given how important it is to continue to build that teamwork and the familiarity and the innovation curve inside a distributed workforce. The price we pay for Sococo versus the value it generates is pretty insignificant.
Awesome. Thanks. I agree with you. And, you could pay $400, $500 a month for office space, or even more for one individual, or you can pay approximately $15 a month to come to work, in Sococo.
Yeah.
It's a big difference, and we wanted to price it competitively so it would be kind of a no-brainer kind of decision. It's priced like a communication or collaboration tool, but we believe gives you so much more.
And as you mentioned, it doesn't preclude you from using those other kind of tools. Like you said, you've got Slack integrated into your own Sococo, and you make Sococo, right? So it's
Totally.
not as if it's a, this or that. It's a this plus that, which
we have a client I was talking to the other day. They have 200 employees that come to work in Sococo each day. Half of those approximately are distributed, and they said that their ideal work environment is Slack plus Sococo.
Yeah.
And so we have customers ranging from 12 to 15 people that come to work in Sococo to actually as large as 3,000.
Wow, 3,000. That's amazing. You'd want to use that find feature more often.
Totally.
That's for sure. It's like a where's
Waldo. That's what we call a campus or a skyscraper.
Yeah, where's Waldo? I love it.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your history and how and why you started this company.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a builder. That's what I love to do. I love to build businesses. And so, I have done that on large global organizations, and I've done that in small startups across a number of industries. I've spent most of my time over the last 5 years as a strategic advisor, working with investors, family offices, investment groups, helping with their direct investments into companies. And so I got involved with Sococo as a result of that, joined the board of Sococo about 2.5 years ago, and really was enamored by it. And about 14 months ago, stepped into the role as CEO, and did it in large part representing our largest single investor because of the stickiness of Sococo, right? Despite the fact that 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, audio video was challenging, frustrating for some, we still had incredible stickiness. We have an incredibly high top quartile customer retention rate. And that's a tribute to the uniqueness of Sococo. And when I saw that, I decided that this was an excellent way to invest my time and energy to grow this business, to see, we just had an event with an all hands meeting before I came in here. And so much feedback from our own employees was actually the fact that we drink our own medicine, that one of the biggest benefits of Sococo is actually Sococo.
Yeah, it's funny, right?
Yeah.
Last question. What's a marketing marvel for you, Mark? Obviously, you like Sococo, as do I. Obviously, you use Slack. Other than those two, what's a piece of marketing or collaboration software or tool out there that you would recommend?
Yeah, I for a long time have been a dashboard geek. I love being able to have a dashboard view.
Spoken like a CEO.
Yeah, of what's going on in the business. So we here at Sococo use Grow, and I find Grow to be an excellent tool to aggregate different sources of data, whether that's coming out of our Salesforce, reporting or elsewhere. I have 2 monitors on my desk. I'm looking at you and my camera through one of them, and if I turn my head to my left, I'm looking at my Grow dashboard.
That's great. Terrific recommendation. That'd be a good one for another episode of the show too. A lot of people don't know about it, and that'd be a good one to demonstrate. So thank you for that as well. Absolutely. Mark, thank you and the entire Sococo team for really putting together something that makes a huge difference for me personally, and hopefully for a number of viewers here at Marketing Marvels. You can try Sococo, essentially risk-free. Tell them a little bit about that. How do you want people to kind of get on board? Absolutely.
Come to our website, sococo.com, SOCOCO.com. Start a free trial. It is a full-featured trial for 15 days. We'll reach out to you and give you some tips and tricks on how to most effectively bring your team into Sococo and use it effectively for your organization. And then become a paid customer and bring your organization to come to work in Sococo and get the benefits of both co-location and distribution, and not suffer any longer about the challenges of a distributed team. And so we welcome that. And we'd love to help those organizations grow.
Yeah, I can tell you, if you use it for 15 days and you actually really use it, you're not going to want to stop on day 16. I can tell you that, because you're gonna fall in love with it. It'll be part of your routine by then. At least that's been my experience very much. I hear somebody knocking on your office right now, which is so see, he's not kidding. They actually use the tool. Somebody's knocking during.
That was Robert knocking on my door.
You.
That was Robert knocking on my door. Exactly.
That was pretty professional. I love that very much. All right, Mark, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks to all of you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, for all the new episodes here on Marketing Marvels, where I tell you stuff that I think you ought to be interested in, if you go to bit.ly/Marketing Marvels, all lowercase, bit.ly/Marketing Marvels, that'll take you to the YouTube channel. You can subscribe there, and you'll never miss an episode. Marketing Marvels is, of course, a production of Convince and Convert Media, where we do the Social Pros podcast, the Connex podcast, our award-winning blog, and all kinds of other stuff for marketers and business owners. If you go to convinceandconvert.com, you can see the whole thing. On behalf of Mark and the Sococo team, me and the folks at Convince and Convert, thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next time on Marketing Marvels.